shocking images showing thousands of migrants packed into a cramped border facility in Donna, Texas, after the press was finally allowed inside. This one facility, which we highlighted on Sunday Morning Futures on Sunday, the capacity is 250 people. Right now, 4,000 people are being crammed in there. Over 3,400 of them are unaccompanied minors. So in a capacity of 250 people, they're stuffing 4,000 people in there. Officials are warning that the U.S. could see over 1 million encounters at the border this year. Joining me right now is Texas Congressman and former White House physician himself under President Trump, Dr. Ronny Jackson. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
So much to talk to you about. You recently visited the border along with other lawmakers. Tell us what you saw.
Well, I saw a complete travesty. I mean, it was a horrible situation. It really is a humanitarian crisis, Maria. We saw people in these small little plastic bubbles or cages that, they were literally laying so close to each other, you couldn't see the floor between them. Like if you would put one more person in there, you would have literally been stacking people on top of people. It was completely packed. And like you said, there were 250 people supposed to be in this facility we were in. They told us they had 4,700 people packed in there. And it's just, I mean, all I could think about, in they were these little cages, but they were made out of plastic. They just looked like little incubators in there, in the light of what's going on with the pandemic. But it's just it really is a humanitarian crisis down there.
What a shame. I want to ask you about the pandemic because there are also reports that there's not enough testing going on. Can you tell us what kind of COVID-19 threat exists at the border facilities? These children are packed and practically on top of one another. Obviously, there's no 6 feet distancing here. And Ted Cruz told us that they are testing at about 10% of them have COVID. What do you know about that?
Well, I'll tell you, first off, none of them are tested in the detention facility, none. They don't get tested until they get turned over to HHS days later. And what happens is initially they come in, they get packed in there, then they eventually get farmed out to HHS. HHS is testing them. Customs and Border Protection told me that they're getting the numbers back from HHS that anywhere from 5 to 10% of the ones that they test, and they don't test everybody, but 5 to 10% of the ones they test are testing positive for coronavirus. So that's a huge number when you consider that we have 150,000+ people crossing our border every day. 10% of them are COVID positive. These people that leave the detention facility, they're getting on buses and they're moving them out to these detention facilities or to these HHS facilities before they get tested. So they're interacting with a lot of folks before they actually end up there. And I think that we've done a great job, especially in the state of Texas, on really taking a round turn on COVID here. We've worked really hard over the last year with distancing, social distancing, and mask wearing, and all the other things that we've been asked to do, so that we could get to a position in our state here where we can, stop wearing our mask, where we can go back to school, we can go back to work. And this crisis at the border is about to undermine that entire thing for our state. These people are going to go to communities all over my state, all over the state of Texas, but they're coming to communities all over the country. So I think everyone in the country should be very concerned about what's going on our southern border. And I've said before, it's not just a healthcare crisis, it's an economic crisis, and it's a national security crisis. And one other thing I'd point out too, it's only half of what's going on down here. The other half that people aren't talking about is the fact that the Border Patrol is overwhelmed right now. And all of those agents that are supposed to be out on the border protecting us from the criminal elements, from the drug trafficking, the sex trafficking, the criminal elements coming across the border, the methamphetamine, the heroin, the cocaine that's coming across the border in large numbers, they're not, because they're at these detention facilities and at these ports of entry trying to process all the paperwork for these people, passing out juice boxes, changing diapers, and doing things that have nothing to do with law enforcement and protection of the American people.
Right. Yeah, no, I know that. A number of sources that I have at the border say that they can't do their job because they've got to transport kids to hospitals. But something that you just said, I mean, we're talking about testing for COVID after they've been there for a few days. I mean, how does the administration sell this idea that they're doing such a good job on COVID and the Trump administration did such a bad job, and the Trump administration did such a bad job at the border, and they're digging out from that, is what Jen Psaki said the other day, when in fact what we have, the reality of the situation is you've got migrants, thousands and thousands of them every day, jammed into a building or a tent that has has a capacity for 250 and you're jamming in 4,000 people and 10% of them have COVID. And then they're testing them 3 days after they've been around everybody. And in some cases, these people are being flown or sent into the interior of our country. I mean, this is mind-boggling that this is actually taking place, and the media is not going crazy about this. How does Jen Psaki get away with standing at that podium every day, trashing Trump, and when you have this elephant in the room like this?
Well, it's easy. With the exception of a few shows like yours, they get top cover from the far left and from the liberal press. The press is just pushing out the narrative that they want them to. They're saying, hey, there's nothing to see here. Everything's fine. This is not a crisis. This is something that happens every year at this time of the year. That is complete garbage. Anyone can look at the numbers. That's objective data, and they can see that we've only had 400 to 700% increases across the board on all of this stuff in the last few months. This is not a normal cycle. Yeah. This is,
No. Well, this is not normal at all, Congressman. From the big tech dominance and the censorship to the border crisis to the agenda, it's not normal at all. Congressman, it's good to see you, and thank you for weighing in here. Please come back soon.